Let's add a database to a form handler. Let's go to the microservices. In form handler, what we'll do is now connect to a database of some kind. Let's say the endpoint is database. We'll add a new data set, and for this, instead of uploading a file, we can choose to connect to a database. And you can, from the user interface, connect to 5 types of databases, but there are many more databases that you can connect to, and I'll talk about how you can create a connection string that can connect to pretty much any kind of database. So what we'll do is start with a Postgres database. There is a public Postgres database at rnacentral.org, and this public database has a public URL with a user ID and password that anyone can use. So we'll enter the details from here. So that's the host name. Let's enter it under host. There is a user ID reader. We'll enter that under reader. There is a password that we'll type in here. And the database itself is called pfmeg something. And we can put in a table name, and the table name can be obtained from here. Yeah, there is a table called RNA, which contains all the RNA sequences. So we'll pick the RNA table and just, yeah, save it. So we'll click on submit, and what that's done is created an endpoint called database. Now let's see if we can get this working. First thing it says is there's no module called PsychoPG2. While Gramex supports pretty much any database, there may be some additional libraries that you'll need to install for each of these uh, databases. So depending on the database, we'll have to install a different library. In this case, PsychoPG2 is the library that we need for connecting to Postgres. Some databases come out of box. Postgres is not one of those on the IDE. So on the code editor, what you can do is go to the terminal, and if your terminal is not open, you can just say create Control Shift P and create new terminal, or you could click on the keystroke combination Control Backtick. That will open up the console. So I'm pressing Control Backtick, and that opens up the console. Now you can run pip install the same library, the module that was missing, PsychoPG2. So PsychoPG2, that's downloading PsychoPG2, building PsychoPG2, and it's installed PsychoPG2. So let's reload this page. And now you see that it's running, it's taking a bit of time. And that's because it's connecting to the database behind the scenes. This is a fairly large database. It contains the entire RNA sequence, and it will fetch as many records as it can. The default limit is 10,000, and it will fetch those and show them here. Actually, it turns out that it's taken so long. It took a minute while I paused the video, and it's timed out. So rather than fetching the entire data set, what we'll do is say, give me just the first, let's say, 20 records. That's fetched the data much quicker, and we have a series of RNA sequences. This is hard to view, so we'll use format equals HTML to see the results in HTML. And now we have the entire database available to us with the first 20 rows being visible, and we can paginate through it with offset. So start with the 20th, and that will refresh the data. Offset equals 40. That refreshes the data further, and we can step by step go through this entire data set. What this has done behind the scenes is constructed. Let's take a look at the string that it's constructed. It created a form handler at the location slash database, and there are no headers relevant here, but the table is RNA, and there is a SQL Alchemy URL that it's constructed that captures the user ID, the password, the host name, the database name, all of the parameters that are required to connect to this database. There are many such formats of strings that are available: MySQL, Oracle, MS SQL, SQLite, and with more libraries, you can connect to several other kinds of databases, and there are hundreds of such databases that you'd be able to connect to. Let's take one more example. This time I'll show you how to connect to a database directly using a string. So one of the connection strings that you can use for MySQL is this particular format. What we'll do is replace this Postgres with MySQL plus PyMySQL colon, and we'll find another database to connect to. It turns out that there is a public database for RFAM, and this is a site that contains non-coding RNA families. Not that I know what that is, but we have the connection details here, the host name, username, password, etc. So let's construct it. We'll start with the username. I'm going to paste this here. Instead of $user, we'll put it as RFAMRO. There is no password, so I can get rid of everything after the colon. The server is this. Let's paste the server and /db, that's rfam with a capital R. The table name, there are several tables. Let's say we connect to the family table, and that gives us our new connection. Now, what we'll do is go back to the application and reload this, maybe with a limit of 20, and see what happens. It's fetching the data, hopefully from the new data source. And it says it's not able to connect. Did we make a mistake? Is there something that we missed out? Well, looks like the port number that is specified here, we didn't use. And the way to add the port number here is alongside the server. So you say colon port name, and this is standard across all the SQL Alchemy URLs. Now let's reload. And that gives us a result with the first 20 records. Let's format that as HTML. And we see details of each of these records. We can choose to then further sort it, saying I want the most recently created one. Let's say underscore sort equals minus created, so that it shows the most recent record, which is 2021-06-10, and filter it the way we would look at any database. The other databases can be constructed in a similar way. If you had a public database, then you can connect to that. If not, you'll create your own instance of the database and pass in the connection string. Some of these could be files like SQLite, where you can have a file in your Docker instance or your ID instance or your local instance, and you can read from that file directly. Other libraries will require you to pip install some library. For example, if you read from Redshift, you can use SQL Alchemy Redshift and put in this kind of a URL. If you want to read from S3, S3FS will work. You will need to add your credentials and then connect to your bucket and then your file and so on. The advantage is that there is a single interface, a single REST API that you can use to connect across all of these databases for any kind of tabular structure, as well as for any kind of file using the same kind of interface.